Should an 8-year-old be charged with a felony? How about an 8-year-old with special needs? Those are some of the questions facing one family in Allendale, Michigan, where prosecutors have charged 8-year-old Edward Hart with malicious destruction of police property and resisting and obstructing an officer. How much damage could an 8-year-old actually do? Well, I'll get to that. But according to reports, 8-year-old Edward Hart ran away from Hillside Learning and Behavior Center in Michigan on March 19th. Now, there's a police report that says that 2 teachers had actually attempted to chase down the child as he ran away from the school, and eventually a 3rd teacher was able to find him. That's about a block away. Now, the police were called in and asked to help escort the boy back to the school, and that's when an officer asked him what his name was. Hart allegedly cursed at him, to which I say, all right, who hasn't wanted to curse at a cop once in a while? Am I right? Now, reports also allege that the 8-year-old destroyed the rear camera on the back of the police cruiser. Now, his stepfather, Robert Bloom, explained that, quote, he has special needs. He has anger issues. He also continues by saying, I don't even think he did anything wrong in this case. He is special needs. If they had him under control, why didn't they ride with him in the back of the cop car? So this incident would have never taken place. They go on to say that we did discipline him majorly. He had a day in the timeout chair, he had a week with no TV, and even lost his BS for life in order to pay for, of course, the broken camera. Now, Police Chief Rick Hoyer told a local news station, Fox 17, in Michigan, that he did not agree with the decision to criminally charge the child. He said, quote, when I called the school to ask questions, why nobody rode with the minor child to the school instead of just throwing him in the back of the cop car, they had no answers for me. They just couldn't answer the question. Prosecutors, of course, in the state stand by their decision to charge the 8-year-old boy with special needs with felonies. And they also say that he will have to first go to counseling before a court can determine whether or not those charges will actually stick. What do you guys think about this? Are they overdoing it there? Is this overreaction?
No, they're not doing it at all. I mean, kind of, there's 2 parties that are wrong here. There's the school, who should have gone on the ride in the cop car and should have dealt with that a better way. And then you've also got the police and the prosecutors who are charging this kid with 2 felonies. I mean, what do they hope to achieve in charging an 8-year-old who's got documented kind of issues as well? What do they hope to achieve by trying to put him in prison or kind of have something? I mean, this isn't just having something written on your school's permanent record. This is you getting a criminal record that will haunt you for the rest of your life. He's 8 years old. Now, I can agree with kind of the kid getting some counselling and stuff, and that that might help to some degree. That's probably what the kid needs if he's got these anger issues and so on and so forth. But to just think, yeah, he's an 8-year-old kid, he's a violent criminal, he's a thug, throwing him in prison is not going to help him at all. And okay, he'd probably end up going to a juvenile court and not into one of the kind of the hardened prisons in the state. But as I said, it just seems a complete overreaction. The kid was a bit naughty. There's other ways to deal with it apart from prison.
Right. Connor, why don't you chime in?
Yeah, I completely agree with Steven. The thing is, they're going to send this 8-year-old kid, if they do, to a juvenile facility. That's going to fuck him up even more. They're not going to be able to rebuild him because he's going to be in a wrong environment for him. Yeah, way overdoing it in this case. Like, he just destroyed a camera, $50, okay. But once it goes to prosecutors, they're not using the common sense. It's one of these things where they're like demonizing people that have these mental illnesses. It's like, they're not like me, so obviously I don't have to use common sense with them. I think that's what's the big thing that's going on here.
All right, Sean, good points, by the way.
Okay, so as people in our audience know, I'm a well-known despiser of little kids, but even I know that this is totally ridiculous. Like, if he destroyed the camera, which it seems like he did, I have to say allegedly because they charged him with a crime and he needs his jury trial. But if he destroyed a camera, and like forget about cursing at the cop, that's meaningless. But if he destroyed a camera, then his parents should pay for the camera. You shouldn't charge him with a crime. Like, and I would go a little further. I'd say his parents and the school should split it because he really got away from the teachers because somebody wasn't doing their job. Like, they're not supposed to let him escape. Like, I don't know, like, how, like, what did he do, climb out a window? Like, what the hell is going on at that school? So, the police chief is actually a good guy in this case. It's actually the overzealous prosecutors because he said, look, I don't agree with them charging him. We were sent there to help. He broke the camera. It sounds like what happened is the officer reported what happened, and then the prosecutors picked up this case and ran with it as if it's an actual case of criminality. Just make people pay for the property that was destroyed and move on. It's not a big deal.
Right, and I definitely agree with all those different points. Yeah, make him, or make the parents pay for the camera. It is destruction of property, but there's no reason you need to put this child in a juvenile facility. This child needs mental health care.
Yeah, I mean, let's not forget, he ran away from a learning and behaviour like specialist school. He wasn't just going to a normal kind of state school. This is a school that was kind of specially kind of had specialists trained to deal with children who have these sort of issues. And to Sean's point about kind of the teachers are partly to blame for him managing to escape and run away. I mean, I've worked at summer schools for the last 5-6 years now, and there have been some issues with kids running away. And I wouldn't fully blame the teachers if the kid managed to escape. You can't keep your eyes on the kids all of the time. It really is an impossibility. But they should have, if they knew that this kid, I mean, if he'd run away beforehand or he'd shown signs of wanting to run away beforehand, then they should have kept a closer eye on him. So I agree that at the end, parents should just have to pay for the damages. Kids can get punished at home, and everyone can just walk away from this kind of as a winner instead of having to send this kid to jail.
Well, I'm not saying that the people at the school should be charged or anything, but I'm just saying when you leave your kids at a school or anywhere like that's an established institution, not with like the alcoholic down the street like my parents did, you are leaving them in a position of trust, and like you're somewhat liable for that kid leaving. Like if that kid died in the classroom, that would be their fault in my opinion.
I don't think the teachers shouldn't be charged anything. They maybe need to have a review of some of their kind of practices and stuff to make sure this sort of thing doesn't happen again, or it's less likely to happen again. But yeah, I didn't want to kind of suggest that you were thinking that the teachers should be charged with anything.
I mean,
that would be ridiculous as well.
Like maybe I thought Sean meant he was that the teacher should share the $25 fine for breaking the camera.
Yeah, they should split the fine, in my opinion. His parents and the teachers, because it's his kid, it's their kid, but they left him at his school. Like, that seems like a reasonable solution, which apparently reason doesn't enter the minds of prosecutors anymore.
Well, because prosecutors, their main job is to prosecute.
But as long as they get that conviction rate up,
right? They're trying to rack up hits, and it's pretty sad when you have to rack up that conviction record on an 8-year-old. Who has a mental disability, But Connor, if you have something to say, go ahead and jump in, man.
I've been agreeing with everyone, and I think they covered it all. It's ridiculous. He's 8 years old. You don't need him to serve time in a juvenile facility. Just pay the $50 and move on with your life. Yeah,
and this seems pretty open and shut here. There's going to be no disagreement. This is way out. This is over the line, and this is why there needs to be some more, I guess, discretion. I mean, the police even say we should not be charging him with felonies. This is ridiculous. But anyway, speaking of moving on.
Well, I just want to add, this is one of the few cases where the police are reasonable. Mm-hmm. It's the prosecutor. So big ups. We always hate on the police when they do something wrong. We got to give them a little credit when they do something right. They help find the kid, and they don't want to charge him.
Absolutely. Credit where credit is due. The police, did a good thing. They didn't do something horrible this time, which is awesome.